God, do I get to take this off? It is
No.
digging into my head.
No.
Oh,
Jiroc didn't say that the recording was done. Keep it on.
Forehead.
Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is January 3rd, 2023. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Gwen the Shield Maiden.
Hello.
We also have Shield Maiden, Morning Darkness.
Yes.
And we have Bambi the Shield Maiden.
Hello there.
And I just want to go back before we continue to the princess wave. Can we see that one more time, Gwen?
I've practiced all my life to be a Disney princess.
You were doing that on stream the other day, too.
Was I?
Well, your sister did.
Oh, yeah, she might have.
So, Gwen, what's the story behind the tiara there?
There isn't. It's just that a lot of my hats are summer hats. And I was like, it doesn't feel appropriate to wear a summer hat the first week of January. So I was like, oh, I'm going to change it up. Instead of having a hat, I'm going to wear another headpiece that I have lying about. I didn't buy this. I think, as I was telling you guys before, I think it's a child one because it's so small and so tight. And I don't know how it came into my possession. I think it was another like house party I hosted and someone left part of their costume behind. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll have a tiara then.
Cool,
As you do.
Well, it's a good celebration, a good way to break in the new year, 2023.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted something like flashy to, for good luck for the year.
And
how about you? What about your hat?
Oh, yeah. See, check that out.
Yeah, nice.
Cowboy hat. I picked this up in Nashville.
Ooh.
Actually, yeah.
Fancy.
Very fancy. It's another straw hat. I actually have another cowboy hat that I got that was very expensive, but I'll reveal that. It was so nice. I had it shipped instead of bringing it home on the plane with me. I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I just had them ship it to me. So I'll be getting it here hopefully by the end of the week. And maybe I'll share that one here when I'm feeling fancy. Because it's a fancy hat.
How do you store all your hats? Do you have like a whole, like how do you call them? A closet dedicated to your hats with headstands?
I have, let's see, point to it. Right behind over my left shoulder is a bookshelf. And it's pretty tall. It's probably about 5-6 feet tall. And no, I took out all the books long time ago, and now it has a bunch of hats in there, mostly the smaller hats. And then up on the wall over there, I have hooks and nails, and they're just like in rows. I have probably I haven't worn a lot of ball caps. I have lots of ball caps. Eventually, I'll have to start wearing some of my ball caps, but yeah, these fancier hats, they have to go in bigger spots. But yeah, probably a good 30 or 40 hats just in this room here.
Oh, wow. It's nice to have them on display, though, because otherwise you kind of forget that you have them.
Yeah, I definitely forget. And I have so many ball caps that I went through all my ball caps. Every once in a while, I go through the ones that I don't wear and try them on. Not really loving this one. And so I have a box too in the garage of ball caps that like they just don't make the cut anymore.
That's funny. We need to give you a headstand, but have a fake beard on the headstand and sunglasses as well. So that you've got a Jiroc head for your hat of the week.
Oh, that's funny. I have this really great graphic of a beard. It's like this bright orange beard, and it's meant for like a St. Patrick's Day t-shirt. And you could do all these fun sayings around the beard. And I was trying to figure out how can I make that a a Valheim or like a Viking t-shirt, right? Like a Viking themed t-shirt. I didn't really know what to do with it, but what you just said gave me the idea of just putting some sunglasses right above it and a little cowboy hat picture right above it. And then there you go. Hat, sunglasses, and beard. That's it. That's the t-shirt.
With give him the business inscribed around it. Nice.
There you go.
So did everybody have a good holiday and New Year celebration?
Oh yeah, Happy New Year. We forgot to say Happy New Year, did we? Did we say Happy New Year?
We said it before we started recording to each other.
Happy New Year, Valheim family.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Well, to start with my first big announcement, today is, well, as I said, January 3rd, but by the time this podcast comes out, 3rd, 4, 5, 6. Is the 6th? Yeah. The 6th will be the podcast release date, but that's 1 year. This is our 1 year anniversary episode because we launched our first episode on January 7th of 2022.
Yay!
1 whole year of podcasting. Wow.
Insane.
Yeah.
I like to mention how this podcast came to be.
Yeah.
It was basically Gwen. You have Gwen to thank. Do you remember
my
Gwen?
idea?
Well,
No.
yeah.
I remember discussing it as we were just chatting and we were like, I think I remember vaguely.
Well, yeah. So
Want me to tell the story?
Well, years ago, I did a sort of a movie podcast with a couple of filmmaking friends of mine. It was probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. We did it for a full year and then we retired it because it wasn't getting, back then we didn't have the easy way to get the podcast out. And I didn't even think to put the whole podcast on YouTube. We were just doing all the work to manually put it out on the internet and rent a server to host the podcast. And so it was costing money. We were having fun with it, but it wasn't really doing much. And I thought, well, a year, just like it's not doing anything. We'll move on to something else. And then I think I mentioned to you that I had done a podcast before. And I think you said something like we should do a podcast. Why don't you tell me what you remember about it?
I remember that back in the day, we were chatting very often because we were adminning the servers, I guess. And every time we'd chat, we'd had like hour-long conversations. Hours worth of conversations with at the time it was with Talkers and some of the other founders, and every time we were just chatting about Valheim, just talking about random stuff that we liked in the game, things we wish we had, and we were just like spending hours and hours talking about Valheim, and you kept saying, I wish I could record this discussion because this would make for good like video content, like people might be interested in hearing what we're saying. And so I was like, maybe people would be interested, and maybe it would be like good audio content. And I think that's how the idea of a podcast kind of grew.
Yeah.
But did you think that we'd hold up a whole year of podcasting when we started?
I kind of did, just because of how active and friendly the community is. I remember you saying, I don't know if there's going to be enough content to talk about. After a few episodes, we'll probably go over everything. What are we going to talk about? Do you remember that? You like being worried that we'd have enough to talk about?
Yeah, because weekly, I think we had that discussion of, do we want to make it weekly, bi-weekly? And I was like, is Valheim going to produce enough content for us to talk about on a weekly basis? But here we are. We always mostly find new things to talk about.
Well, we rehash old ground every once in a while as we
no one notices.
Yeah, and new listeners, they forget. Short-term memory, like a goldfish, right? Actually, it's funny. So I listen to a lot of science podcasts, and one of my science podcasts just recently talked about how they've done a bunch of tests with goldfish, and goldfish remember actually quite long. Then they like a week. Over a week ago, they had trained them that if they go to a certain thing in a tank, they get food. And so a week a week later, they stuck them into the tank and to see if they would remember. And they just went right to the thing where they got the food. Like they remembered a week later. So that's not real. That goldfish memory thing's not real.
Okay, let's keep it with Dory then. Yeah, from Nemo.
Yeah.
She's a reference point for fish in general and memory.
Let's see. So obviously I just came back from vacation, and I don't know if anybody had a chance to listen to that video. I know the audio wasn't very good because I was outside and there are a lot of city noises, but I was up several floors at a hotel. And so whatever city noises were going on at the time, there's one point in the video where a car drives by with a super loud muffler that's kicking back.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's kind of like startled me. I was like, what the heck is that? Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom.
It was cold there too.
Oh, it was so cold. Yeah. It was funny. When we got there, they had this really rare cold front that came in and it snowed. So on Christmas evening, when we arrived, we landed on Christmas Day. We had a white Christmas, and I haven't had a white Christmas in forever because I live in California. We don't get snow here. Right? Morning.
Nice.
So yeah, it's my first white Christmas in almost 25 or more years. I lived in Washington State a long time ago, and we had them there. But yeah, so that was cool, and it was like when we first landed, it was 19 degrees out. And by the end of the week, I was walking around in a t-shirt because it was 67 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Gwen's like, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like -4 Celsius or something. -3, -4.
I'll make the translation for all, the rest of the world that
the rest of the world.
Something that makes
who uses the wrong temperature.
-7. Okay, I was close.
-7 Celsius. Yeah, that's below freezing temperature. That's very close.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So -7, 19 degrees Fahrenheit, and by the end of the week, it was 67 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that equates to in Celsius. Probably something like 28 or something. I don't know.
62. You said
67. Fahrenheit, yeah. So yeah, we were bundled up in heavy jackets. 19. Okay, yeah, heavy jackets.
That's like British.
I was in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's Dutch summer as well.
Yeah, and that was just in the course of 1 week from that extreme to the other. And so the first day and the next day we got a little snow. We got to watch it fall too. And then it all melted by the third day and it got warm. And so so it's fun, those extremes, to see those. The problem is, though, I got sick 5 days before we left and I was terrified. Oh no, do I have COVID? So I got tested for COVID and the flu, and I was negative on both the home test, and I went to the hospital and got tested. But, oh man, we were talking about how some people are sicker than others when you get sick. So it was a really bad cold. And the first 2 days we were in Nashville, I was pretty miserable. It was like the nose was leaking. Tissue everywhere. As I blow my nose, everybody's looking at me. Oh my God, is he sick with COVID or something?
I have a terrible term for that might be too much for the podcast.
Maybe after
we're all thinking it.
Oh no, I call that the nose tampon when you
Oh yeah, before we left, it was running so bad while I was sleeping. Both nostrils I stuffed with tissue because you're like, you can't sleep. It's running all over your face. So what are you gonna do, right?
Oh gosh, I'm visually minded, and I'm not gonna lose this vision for a long time.
So now we need a special edition of that new Jiroc design T-shirt
with the nose tissue sticking out.
Even the business,
I would definitely buy that one.
And it has to just say Viking nose tampon or something, or tissue. Yeah. So, so of course I enjoyed many beverages every day, but the first 2 days, it really helps when you're sick if you're a little loopy because it doesn't bother you as much, right? But one of the, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Nashville or ever what you've heard about it, but it's, it's like called like the music capital of the world. And everywhere they have music, every hotel, they have live bands playing, every restaurant, every bar, even when you get out of the downtown area and you go out, everybody has live music. So it's like everywhere you go, you get like a free concert everywhere you go. So like, that's what I did. We just went and, after doing some shopping and sightseeing during the day, our evenings were all just free concerts everywhere. Of course, they're all artists and they got their tip buckets out. So it's not really free if you like to support them, which I did. But yeah, it's fun. Plus you can request songs, which is a lot of fun. Do you guys like live music when you go out?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love live music. I think that's one of the things that I missed the most during the pandemic when it was lockdown and you couldn't really go out to hear live music or any sort of live shows. But I love those kind of places, like cities where you just walk around, you wander in a bar or in a place and there's just some local artist playing and you're like, it's nice, better than just loud music playing in the background from whatever playlist. And I know Nashville. I have heard of Nashville mostly for it's famous for its country music, right? It's like the birthplace of country music or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they definitely play all kinds of music because a lot of music has its roots in the old country styles and honky tonk and bluegrass.
I bet there's a lot of blues as well, right? Because I feel like country and rock are kind of derived from blues and jazz, and like a lot of musical of those genres kind of come back to the similar roots. So a place I would love to go is New Orleans for the jazz music.
We actually
seems to be a very similar. Yeah,
we considered going there before Nashville, and I looked at a lot of the places to see and sites to see, and then I found on my list we started considering Nashville. So I started considering the types of music between the two and the types of food between the two, and Nashville won out in every way. So I was like, I want Nashville food and I want Nashville music.
What is Nashville food?
So they have this thing called Nashville hot chicken. It's a kind of like a deep fried chicken, and it's made hot, but not like the buffalo wing sauce, which a lot of people are familiar. It's more of like a paprika hot flavor. It's kind of interesting. I should look up the recipe. I'd like to try to make it at some point, but yeah, we had that many times when we were down there, and they have all different levels of heat for you to experiment with. So I got the top 3. I love super hot food. I always eat it. And I got the 3 hottest. I was like the 3 hottest, and I remember the young lady at the counter was like, "Are you sure you want that one?" Because I think it was called. Radio. they had like hot. Like some really, really hot label. And then the last one was "Get the Cluck Out."
Oh gosh.
That was the laid name for the hottest one. So I was like, all 3. So I start with the first one. I go through. I was like, oh, that's got a pretty good kick to it. The thing about it is it builds up. If you eat spicy food, the first bite is never as hot as like the 10th bite, because that capsaicin starts to build up on your tongue, because it's the capsaicin where all the heat comes from. So I eat the first one. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Eat the second one. Starting to sweat a little bit. And by the third one, I was like, whoo. I think I drank like 4 waters while I was there, and then had to
water is the worst plan.
But just ice. But just letting the ice sit there, so the few seconds while the ice is there, and the water, it feels good. But then as soon as you swallow the water, your mouth is on fire again. But
you need to take sugar for the hot stuff.
Does that help you?
Milk or bread.
No, I was in Sri Lanka for over a month doing volunteer work, and they like really spicy food as well. And all their desserts are really sweet, just because it will temper the hot feeling in your mouth.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Morning.
I was going to say spice, especially capsaicin, that sort of thing. Capsaicin is oil based.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to take things after that will interact with the oil.
Yeah.
So
kind of pull it away.
You want to pull it away. So cream or, any sort of like milk, anything like that, are going to be much more effective than hydrophilic compounds.
Well, yeah, the water and the ice, it just makes it feel good for the moment while you're holding it in your mouth. But when it's that hot, you're just going for anything that'll give you a few seconds of relief. It's funny. They put everything. Yeah. Some people, they're like wiping a napkin trying to get it off. You saw that. But they put it on a piece of white bread, which is funny because I'm like, I'm not eating that white bread. It's soaked in the sauce. My mouth is already on fire. But they did give us like a little thing of ranch and blue cheese and, kind of use that a little bit to help. So it's fun. I always go for really hot food at our local Indian restaurant. I always tell them, give me that 9 out of 10. I've said 10 a few times, and I know the guy who owns the place. Because I've been eating there for like 10 or 12 years, and so he's like, I think he just just to be funny, he makes it too hot when I say that I wanted it really, really hot. Like he's testing me. I was like, okay, don't do it like that next time. Just a step down from that. But some of my favorite places in Nashville were the Country Western Hall of Fame. It's just a giant museum where you learn all about where country music came from and its roots, and lots of artists throughout the ages from long time ago till current ones. The Johnny Cash Museum, of course, everybody knows Johnny Cash.
Yes.
Then an hour and a half out of town, in the middle of nowhere, in a little town called Lynchburg, was a Jack Daniel's distillery, and every single drop of Jack Daniel's whiskey that's made is made right there in Lynchburg. It's not made anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So they took us out there on a tour. We took a tour bus out there. The only problem with taking the tour bus is there's the little town of Lynchburg right there, which is it's a dry town, which means, they don't allow people to sell alcohol for consumption there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a joke, but the Jack Daniel's tour guide told us, so in order for us to get around the fact that this is a dry town, we only sell souvenir bottles, and the whiskey inside is free. I got a couple of souvenir bottles. Ones you could only get at the distillery. It's fascinating to see how it's made and everything, but and then one of the most famous music halls in the world is where they do the Grand Ole Opry. And that term Grand Ole Opry is it's supposed to say Grand Old Opera. But of course, back in the day with their accent, I say, we're going down to the Grand Ole Opry. So they named it the Grand Ole Opry. And we saw a concert there. It was great. They had several musicians come in, some, up and coming, some who are pretty, fairly famous. And then they even had a one comedy act, which was super, super funny. Let's see. There's a place called the FGL House Restaurant. It's a Florida Georgia line band. One of the best venues for restaurant and live music if you go there. Hattie B's Hot Chicken. It's where it's a famous hot chicken restaurant, but it's more of like a lunch place, not like a proper sit down like restaurant where you get served like the FGL House that I previously mentioned. And then if you're really into like rocking your socks off at like a nightclub, Kid Rock's bar. It's 2 stories. The top story looks down to the bottom story. There's a stage on one side and a circular bar in the middle. And some of the band performers would jump into the crowd and be carried to the bar and then dance on the bar. And like one of the female performers, like got down on her knees and bent back, and everybody was pouring beer on her, and it was crazy, crazy nightclub environment. We had so much fun there that we went twice, and those were rough nights getting back to the hotel both times.
Man, you partied hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you did have a big birthday to celebrate, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's fair.
You only turned 21 once.
Exactly.
And then probably one of our favorite small venues was the AJ's Good Time Bar. Alan Jackson, the country singer, has his own little bar right there on the Broadway Strip. And it was just a really nice, cozy environment with live bands. And it was, so if you're looking for just like a quieter little place to just enjoy some drinks, a little bit of like a little area to do like little dancing with your significant other or whoever. That was one of our favorites. So anybody ever want to go to, I want to go back, but there's so many great places to visit in the US and around the world that I don't know if we'll get back to Nashville, but maybe if one of my friends wants to go, I'll say, hey, I'll go with you. But as I mentioned, I got this new hat, but I got 4 new hats. 4, yeah. And I think my shield, 4 hats, yes, in just Nashville.
That's your 4 next week sorted. It's fine.
Next month.
I've got many hats left, and I need to make hats.
There you go.
For reenactment, so I'm gonna probably be wearing a couple of those like medieval hats at some point. And I've got a helm as well. I bought myself a helmet a month and a half ago. So I might do a podcast episode just wearing a helm for no reason.
Brilliant.
It's actually it works for Viking period as well. It's like late. It's supposed to be 12th century, but I think it could pass for like a late Viking age one. So I could go full Viking at some point.
like a Christian age Viking, right?
yeah, like 10th, 11th century Viking, maybe.
Cool. Can't wait to see what you have there. Let's see. So with my YouTube channel, so in the last podcast, which I did by myself in a noisy hotel rooftop in cold weather, I mentioned, that I'm looking at doing some new things this year. Looks like I may start a second channel, doing some different types of content. But on my main channel, I want to start offering like real high value videos for people, for the players. And one of them I want to do is just like lots of tips and tricks, small, short videos with tips and tricks. People seem to respond really well to those, and they're helpful. Plus, I love learning these new tips and tricks, whether, I learned them myself or from other players. So I'm asking people to send in tips and tricks that they have. I actually started a brand new public tips and trick channel on the Discord, even though I know we've been trying to minimize channels.
I saw that. I was like, Jiroc, what did you do?
I could hear you thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to probably do posts like on Twitter and my YouTube to try to get people to submit, because I can only think of so many. And I know everybody out there has fun ones that they just do in every day now, because it's become part of your Valheim play. So if you can think of those things that people, that you've learned throughout the game that other people might benefit from. Because I still get lots of questions of people asking my YouTube channel, like even some basic things about the game. So I'm sure they don't know the more advanced tips and tricks. And I know all of you out there probably know lots of them. But that said, a new segment I'd like to add for this year, maybe starting next week, if you guys think about it, is a tips and tricks segment that you guys share. Just one tips or trick thing that you do. And it could be something simple. Could be like a starter tip when you first land in a new world. They could be biome specific, anything to do with crafting, decorating, fighting, building, anything. Just pick one for the week and share it. And, then we add that value to the podcast for people who are listening.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe I can make, videos on individual tips and tricks. Because I see people mention things and I think, oh, yeah, that's right. There's that thing. I should make a video about that. Like I just put the new channel on Discord this morning and someone's already put some tips and tricks in there. So if you're listening to the podcast, feel free to stop by our Discord, or, you could post in that channel, or you could send me just comment on YouTube here.
Yeah. Comments on the podcast and YouTube always help the
algorithm.
That.
In fact, maybe we should start a thing where we need to incite people to comment on our lovely hats, because we put so much effort, don't we, Jiroc, you and I, every week changing hats. Or maybe we do a thing where at some point during the episode we remove our hats and people need to put the timestamp of when it happened.
Oh, yeah. I was actually thinking about that.
Mini game. Yeah.
Or if we do a hat swap at some point. Yeah. And, I like handing out, free access to the server without being a supporter.
Yeah.
So we'll have to find ways to do that. I'd like to build like a little carrot into each episode, maybe, where we can announce if you mention this in the comments, then you can get on the server for a month. That would be fun, because the few times we've done it, somebody's always responded and answered the question. But let's see. So right before I went on holiday, I was just inspired by some YouTube comments that I had, but I made some new merch. And
yes, oh my God, Jiroc, you have my new favorite thing on there.
So, of course, rule number 1 in my server community is to remember to always be kind. A lot of times we have disagreements, even between admins have disagreements, players, you have a big, large community. I just try to remember everybody, whatever you have to say, just remember to be kind, and you'll be able to hopefully reciprocate that kindness. And so of course I found a really cool kind of a sketch graphic of a bee on this service that I pay for graphics. And I thought, I want to make that one. Rule number 1, be kind t-shirt. Right. This is the most important rule about our community, right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Then somebody suggested that I make the bees are happy shirt out of that graphic. So I did. So there you go. The bees are happy. And yeah, you can't quite tell in this picture exactly, but this graphic is really cool in detail and the way it's sketched out. I really liked it. That's why I used it. You can kind of get a little hint of it there. And then we have chickens, right?
Yes. That's my favorite.
Look at that one.
I saw this when I was watching one of your videos lately, and I'm like, I love it. I love it so much.
And it has the same.
Loves You is the best.
Let's see. I can show that Dear Loves You one that you're talking about right here.
Oh yeah, the Dear Loves You is cute.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is pretty popular. This one I think might be right in number of sales. It might be right behind the Boar Loves You shirt.
Nice.
That one is awesome, cute as well.
Yeah, that was my first one in the series. This one here, the Boar Loves You.
I love that one.
The cutest. That's the cutest.
Just so cute, looking over his little fence. Hey, I love you.
I'm still missing some child shirts.
Nice.
Yeah, because I want to buy the business, giving the business for my twins.
So
give everything the business.
What I realized is that I added toddler sizes, but that's probably too small. You're probably talking about the child size, and they have that option. So I'll go back through and I'll add those in there.
There you go.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yes. I will give you a photo when they wear it.
Yeah. So yeah, that one. And again, it has that kind of like a nice little illustrative style to it. So that's why I chose that one. And then my new favorite one, I think I uploaded this right before I left to catch my flight, was the Skeleton Loves You.
Oh my gosh.
Because we can have skeleton pets now.
Yes.
You can summon them.
I'm definitely going to get that one for Halloween.
Did you hear the disturbing sounds they make when you actually pet them?
What?
Oh, what sound do they make?
It's really disturbing. Yeah, I cannot even know. You have to try it.
I've done it, but now I don't remember exactly what it was.
It's disturbing. Yeah.
So.
But the shirt is really cute.
Yeah, I showed that to my shield mate, and I always show her to see what she thinks, and she saw this and she says, "Oh, that's cute." She says, "But is it an alien skeleton because of its head shape?"
Yeah, the head shape.
And I'm like, "Oh no, it looks cute. It can be whatever you want it to be."
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah,
there are spaceships in the code.
There are. So yeah, that's some new merch. That's and I'm considering the 95% of all t-shirts that are sold, according to the statistics from a few years back when I was looking into selling merch and all that stuff, is black. So black t-shirts take 95% of the market. It's a poll done across like Amazon and other websites too. For some reason, most people like black. But I'm thinking about adding one other color, and I'm thinking about adding red. I have to see how the graphics look on red. I don't know. I have to try it. Oh, but do you guys have any?
White?
Do you wear a lot of white t-shirts, Gwen?
Well, I have a lot of black t-shirts, and I don't know if I would want to buy yet another black, but white, I don't know. It depends where you are in the world and the kind of weather and so on.
Well, black kind of matches everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with white, but yeah, I don't wear a lot of white as well.
White has the problem of being see-through. And as a woman,
it's terrible. For women, it's terrible. For guys, though, in the summer. Mm-hmm. But then, most guys would probably prefer black, I guess. I mean, 95% would go black.
That's what the statistics say. I'll probably look to see what the statistics say are like the next two colors and maybe add two colors. But never offer more than 3 or 4 colors, because then people get, what do they call it? I forget exactly the term, but it's like they freeze and they don't know. Fear of missing out. Like your fear of missing out. You're like, I like that color, but I like that color too. And I like that color. I don't know which one to get, so I'm not going to get any of them.
Right.
So maybe the only dark blue.
Yeah, I was going to say blue is another popular color.
Yeah. The problem with red is with the graphics that you have with the pinks and the mushrooms.
Yeah. I would have to tweak the graphics specifically for those shirts.
Yeah.
So I love red shirts myself. I have a few. One of my favorites is an Imagine Dragons concert t-shirt that I have. It's bright red. It looks really cool.
Nice.
But, I'm always one of those who prefers to wear a little bit of color if it fits. I have a lot of black too, just like 95% of people who like to get the black ones. But and then so you guys also, I have the standard t-shirt, a women's flowy tank top, which is my Shield Maiden's favorite version of the shirt, of a tank top. It's this one here. She has quite a few of these because I'll make a design and she'll say, "Oh, that's cute. I want one."
Yeah, with those tank tops, you have to have a special kind of bra, though. You have to have a racerback bra.
Right. Yeah, because the straps will come down the back there. Yep. Unless you're wearing a black bra, I guess it might be okay. Yeah, if you want to hide it. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways.
Bundy's just laughing her ass off over there.
How do we get from tank
That's
tops
what
to
you
bras?
get.
Yeah.
That's what you get. When you do a Podheim episode with just the ladies, just the cheerleaders. That's what you get. I mean, but also you're the one bringing up the fashion, you know advice.
You know what? Though, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you have people listening to the podcast and they're just listening because they can't watch the video, you gotta give descriptions and you gotta do engagement. Come on now. I'm just wondering.
And you're so right, but yeah, you got me at the see-through with the white. I think, well, for a lot of men, that's not going to be a problem. So you started it there. Sorry. I'll shut up now.
Just blame me, Bambi. It's okay.
Well, we'll get off of the merch topic and the fashion.
Podheim fashion unit.
Sorry, Jiroc, the filter's just not on today. I apologize.
Oh, it's a new year. We do what we want.
Yeah. I'm wearing a crown, pretending to be a princess. We do whatever we want.
Yes.
Exactly. So I wanted to do a little recap of 2022 for Valheim. Nice. And I'd like to start with Valheim news. So lots of people in Reddit, on my YouTube channel, sometimes in Discord and other places, Twitter, they'll, especially if Iron Gate posts something, you'll see comments come up, not all, but every once in a while I see comments come up that say it'd be, something like, Iron Gate hasn't done much in the last year before Mistlands came out. Like it took them 2 years to release Mistlands. The game's never going to be finished, or it won't be finished till 2030 or something like that. And it's just not true. They've done lots of things. They've done small patches to fix things. And they've done lots of different little content patches. So there's lots of things always going on over there. And, I talk to them regularly and they come on the podcast and they tell us what they're up to. And they're a busy bunch. They're over there working hard. It's a small team that's growing, but little by little. I think though they have like 10 or 12 people now.
14.
14. There you go. Yeah, because I think they recently hired a few months back two more people, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I know this because I'm still working on the Christmas presents for the team.
Aww.
Cool. Yeah, so last year, they started the year off with a content patch, and then they moved on to the Frost Caves.
Yeah,
the Frost Caves was a huge update. How can anybody say that? Say a couple of little tiny updates,
and they are amazing.
I mean,
I think it's my favorite update.
Yeah,
more than Mistlands.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Tell us why.
Because I haven't seen much of the Mistlands yet.
Oh, okay.
The Frost Cave. I think the Frost Cave for me was really it. It was such a step up, and it really gave direction for all future updates. In terms of the atmosphere and the type of content that they added. That to me, it set the tone for the next updates.
Well, so the Frost Caves were an entire dungeon added to a biome that didn't have them before.
Yeah.
And what kind of update? They're not the same anytime I enter one. It's always different.
Right. Well, yeah, so they have do you guys know exactly how many iterations of different rooms that they've got for those?
No.
I want to say
there's quite a few different rooms and hallways and things, and
close to 30 or something. I don't know. It's, but yeah, so you've got, almost infinite level of different kind of caves that you can spawn in. And what's really interesting is that, just a point of interest, the Mistlands dungeons are modeled off the what they did with the Frost Caves.
I thought that I kind of felt that way because they used the Mistlands dungeons, because I finally went in one recently.
Yay.
And it did feel a lot like the Frost Caves because it was on multiple levels, and you have the hidden walls or doors that you have to open. Yeah, to me it reminded me a lot of the Frost Caves. But the Frost Caves were the first iterations of those kind of really complex dungeons that they added into the game, which is why for me it was the most, maybe not my favorite, but the most impactful content update of last year.
Very dynamic.
Yeah, and with the Mistlands, they added even more new caves.
Yeah.
More frost caves. Yeah.
Do you think there are even more new rooms and hallways
there are.
that can connect together?
Of them already.
Oh.
Ones with little ponds with fishes in it. Fish, sorry.
Oh.
Fish.
Well, so there
I'll have to do a video on that.
There were
well, you
caves
can come and
that
visit.
had the lake, but you're saying they've added rooms with like ponds? Because I know that they hadn't added the fish yet. Then they finally added the fish to the frost cave.
They add fish to the frost cave, and even the ones with the unfrozen lake, they have fish now in it. I believe they actually have a lot of different kind of fish now. And in the frost cave, there is just with the unfrozen lake, there's one kind you can not catch anywhere else. With the unfrozen
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a rare fish that's only in the cave.
Yeah, but they added more caves to with the Mistlands update now.
For the frost cave, you're not saying for the Mistlands dungeons, but for the frost cave.
Yeah, for the frost cave.
Oh, okay.
The Rings of the Mist actually have one with a pond in it.
Interesting.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing, just to clarify, is you're saying that you believe that they have added more room iterations to the generation of the frost caves.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to take a look at and spawn in some new ones and see and test that theory. But yeah, because they have so many different rooms and hallways, and they generate randomly together, there can be almost an infinite combination of different types of frost cave dungeons. So that system is amazing. I love that about the world generation, and that they use it for their dungeons too, because there's no two dungeons and no two worlds that are the same, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was the big update that came in March. Then they had a couple of patches, and let's see, they have won. They won some more awards. Best debut category in GDCA Audience Awards. So it's nice to see them winning awards. Another patch to fix things. And then in April is right around the time they first started teasing the Mistlands, and we got the ruins. I think there's a link to a YouTube video here.
Yeah.
But I just remember that being super exciting when they started showing the teasers of the ruins and the new black marble. And I have to say, now that Mistlands is out there, I am definitely, it lived up to my expectations. It's really cool, all the stuff that you can find in the Mistlands.
Yeah.
Even better.
More teasing of the Forge, which we have. Patch. And then Midsummer. So a small content patch, some new banners, and the Midsummer, what do they call it?
Flower crown.
The flower crown.
Yeah. I have to say that I really loved this this content update. I loved that there's Gwen's flower crown, but she's got everything at her fingertips. Look at that.
Yes.
Having those extra colored banners, I know it doesn't really add a whole lot to the game, but I thought that this was such a beautiful and brilliant addition. This one made me really happy.
What it made me happy for is that they completed the rainbow, so we just on time for Pride Month, so that we could celebrate Pride Month with a rainbow. And I was really happy about that.
Yep, new colors to the banners. That's fun. A lot of people wish that we could dye things the color that we want, so we could do what we want. But at least they've given us more colors, so that's fun. And then they teased the fish back then for the Mistlands, and the Forge got built. And then there were some spoilery images with the tick there. Gwen's favorite new pet added to the game.
And the two-handed longsword.
Yeah. And of course, Build of the Month stuff. And let's see, hungry for a snack. That's when they started teasing us with Mistlands new foods. And a patch and a patch.
I think right around there, some of those patches were the fixes that they did to the cloud save and also the crossplay as well. So like we're talking a lot about the content stuff, but they did release a lot of patches that were a bit more technical.
Yeah.
Either to stabilize the game or to like add things like crossplay, which is quite a big thing.
Yeah, and people underestimate, like, these technical things take a lot of work. You know, the content patches are technical for them. It's content for us, but it's technical for them. And then the other technical stuff, like if things aren't working the way they're supposed to, people are going to complain again. But then if they fix that and don't put their time towards content, people complain that they're not getting enough content. So it's like, well, hold on. They got to fix stuff too and make content, and they got to do both. And they're working on it. Let's see, as we go through this, yep, they got news patchments, fix issues caused with crashes and world resets. That they did that. And then of course they tease the feather cape, which I believe Gwen won the bet on the feather cape.
Give me my ice cream.
Yeah, so if you were interested in hearing that bet and how it went down right around September, when this patch came out on September 13th, we did a podcast shortly after that where we talked about that cape and some other stuff. Let's see, was there anything else in that patch that was really interesting?
She predicted it a long time before that, by the way.
Yep, like I think way before even Mistlands was discussed. I was talking about it would be nice to have a feather cape.
Yes,
I'm still convinced that half the Iron Gate team listens to this podcast and basically takes note of all our ideas and suggestions and things that we'd like to see changed, because it seems like a lot of things that we have mentioned over time have appeared somehow.
Yeah. I like to think that they listen once in a while, and or maybe it's just great minds think alike. I don't know.
We are making the content.
But yeah, they teased some of the stuff that were coming in the Mistlands, like these new cores that we have here, the hairstyles. So Gwen, you made a new character for your No Map adventures. Yes. Did you go with one of the new hairstyles or beards or anything?
Of course, yeah. I went with I went with a new hairstyle and female character, so no beard. I was
no beard, yeah.
Slightly disappointed, I must admit. I think I mentioned it when I was creating my character and streaming. I thought that with the new hair and beard changes that they would allow female characters to also have beards, but they didn't. So hopefully at some point they will, because why not? It would be fun. And I used one of the new hairstyles. Yeah. One of the long hair ones, because I wanted to make a character that, I don't know, I always make characters that look like me for some reason. It just feels wrong to pick a character that looks totally different. I don't know why.
I have made characters. It sort of depends on the game. Like sometimes I just feel like I want it to look like me, and other times I'll do like something really drastically different. But yeah, for Valheim, when they had that giant glorious beard, I'm like, ooh, I want that giant glorious beard, and it's got to be bright orange, like my hair would have been when I was younger. Except I couldn't grow a beard like this when I was younger. So yeah, I didn't make a new character with a new hairstyle, because none of the new beards are as fantastic as that really giant beard.
They added loads of because I was looking through because I was curious, and they added loads of much shorter beards. I feel like.
Yeah.
I was hoping for one other big giant glorious beard, so I'm gonna have to maybe hit up Robin or something. Hey, can you design another giant beard so I can have some variety? Yeah, there's that feather cape again, and some build of the month stuff. And that's in September. So another patch. Crossplay. There. Gwen was talking about some crossplay stuff that was going down, which caused some server issues too, because of that stuff that was going on. But then lots of patches after that. Patch. And Mistlands finally launched in November.
Yeah.
Just on time for Thanksgiving. Another prediction I got right.
Yeah.
I was the first to make that prediction. Thank you very much. You just agreed with me.
Yeah, I think we picked up on the turkey dinner thing, didn't we? That was posted on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the test version, and then it came out after.
Well, it launched, it dropped.
Yeah. When was the exact date? Oh, December 6th.
December is when it.
December 6th. Yeah.
So about 2 weeks after.
That was in the public test branch for a very short period of time compared to what I was expecting. But it went really well. But
I was just at work, and then I got a message from Gorth. Bambi, Mistlands just launched. No, come on, there was no announcement whatsoever. So that's why I say they didn't launch it; they dropped it.
Yeah.
But
Wow. Well, and we had Jonathan on after the test version was launched, and we talked about that, how like there are no like real big major issues that came up. A couple of small things that they tweaked, so they were able to get it launched in time for the holidays and everybody's holiday vacations, so that they could enjoy their time off in Valheim if they wanted to, or, bring in family members and force them to play and die in Valheim. Right, Gwen?
Yes.
Well, it's funny that stream that you did with your sister. Was it just the one so far with her?
Yeah, just the one, but she might be back by popular demand.
Hey.
Mostly because we need to kill bone mass.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to leave it defeated.
So when I was in Tennessee on this last Saturday, we were just walking around. We had to catch our plane later in the day. I think it was around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So we had the whole day to walk around. So we went around, did some shopping and whatnot. But while we were just walking around, I had one earbud in, and I was listening to your stream. It's just to hear how it goes. And I looked at the screen a couple of times, but I was mostly just listening, and it was fun. Is Valheim something she might play again, like in the future on her own, or just for fun with you once in a while?
Probably just. So I bought her Valheim a year ago because I was so desperate to play a game with her, and obviously Valheim is the main game I play, so I tried to convince her. I was like, oh, you'll probably like it, because she likes Don't Starve Together, so a similar type of like survival co-op game. So I was like, well, you probably will like Valheim. It's quite fun. So I tried to get her into it. So I bought it for her a year ago, and she's only ever played it with me. Basically, me just begging her to find some time to play with me. It's been fun every time, and she said she might be up for a couple more times, just so that we can get through to that. Because I was telling her like Mistlands is a big deal. There's so much new content, and it's worth it. So I'll try to push her to at least complete part of that playthrough up to the Mistlands.
Let me know if you need any support in encouraging her.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I had to stop for a while, because I was like almost every week messaging her saying, "Hey, I want to play Valheim. When are you playing Valheim with me, please?" Yeah, because she was busy with other stuff. But yeah, hopefully get to play with her a bit more.
I feel like that when I'm asking my husband to play with me, so I get it.
Well, I wanted to say too that you two are a great duo together. As you were saying, how you go back to your childhood and you act like goofy, like in your childhood, because you guys have a lot of memories together and goofing off and teasing each other and all that stuff. And a little bit of that comes out in your play that you wouldn't get if with somebody who you don't know as well. So that's fun to listen to two people. Or even a group of people, like one of my favorite science podcasts, The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. These people have known each other for like 30 years. So you get all that little fighting, poking, jokes, all the little fun stuff that they're calling back from. And so listening to that, also, I thought it was funny when, or fun to listen to when the two of you slipped into your French, I can't even do it. Your French accent's really thick and strong.
French accent like this, when we exaggerate so much.
Yes.
It was so good.
that was funny.
The funny thing is, obviously our accents are very different. She's got quite an obvious French accent, and mine is not so obvious. And it was funny. I think you came in Morning Darkness, and you were like, "Oh, you sound very similar but different." I was like,
"Yes,
maybe we have a similar voice, but the accent is just not."
You have similar inflections on specific wording. And so it's very much very much siblings who have gone off to different places in the world. You can tell that you guys grew up together because there are just certain things and the way you say them. But you have very different accents now.
It's also
funny.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's also fun. It's always amazing when somebody speaks multiple languages, but it's always fun when somebody just like completely mispronounces a word, like Iron. I'm like, that's adorable. I love it. It should be pronounced Iron the way it's spelled, this stupid English language.
Yeah, I love her because she used to be quite. She didn't want to speak much English because she wasn't really confident in it. But I think lately she's been a lot more exposed to people outside of France and like playing online D&D with loads of people. So she's been practicing a lot more. But yeah, there's still some words where it's like, it's just cute because she probably reads and writes these words very often, but not necessarily like speaking them. I was a bit mean. I teased her. Not teased her, but I got her to pronounce stuff because she was saying, these words, I have no idea how to pronounce them. I really struggle with them, like genuinely, or that kind of.
You kept saying, say that word again. She's like, what word? And you said, genuinely. And she's like, or what would people say?
Genuinely spelled it out.
Yeah.
And then I chimed in. I said, because she said Iron, and then you said, well, it's kind of like without the R. It's like ion. And I was like, no, Gwen's not right either. It's more like I earn money. I earn money. Just drop the money part, and it's iron.
Iron.
I earn.
Iron.
We're not,
Brudak has talked to me about this a lot of times.
Yeah, it was funny. I trolled Brudak a little bit once because for jokes. So my pronunciation isn't always great because I'm not a native English speaker, but my English grammar is better than most people here. I correct my partner on a regular basis on grammar because I'm like, you can't say that. That doesn't make grammatical sense. And so things like sheep, fish. I know that there is no plural for it, but I like for jokes to say fishes because it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
and I said that in front of Brudak once, and he thought that I didn't know, and so he went on to say, "No, fishes is one of those words," and I was like, "Yeah, I totally trolled him." And every time I'm on voice chat with Brudak now, I'm like, "Oh, Brudak, did you catch some fishes today?"
Oh, poor Brudak. We all do that. Oh gosh, we need to stop this.
They're the diehard linguists, but the reality of language is that over the years it has always evolved. And as long as somebody understands what you're saying, then that word is completely valid. I always tell somebody, I can say fishes because I mean fish plural. I mean fish plural. So the communication is there. If I say something and you don't understand what I say, then I'm doing it wrong.
So it was funny. I had that conversation yesterday, actually, with my friends from my reenactment group, all of which are British. And apparently, you can say fishes if you're referring to the plural with multiple species of fish. Then you can say fishes because it's multiple species. If it's multiple of the same fish, then it's fish. I don't know if it's true. I've not.
Well, let's get the answer from the audience. Is that true?
I think the only one you can get the correct answer from is Brudak.
Well, he's American, so
yeah, that's funny. Let's see. So we're going to talk quickly. We're going to go through some of our videos from last year. Go through them a little bit quickly here. Let's see, where are they? Oh, there they are. And so here we go. Game of the year. We started off Valheim with the Game of the Year discussion. And yep. That's when it won that award, Game of the Year. And you're also seeing numbers of views. Privileged behind the curtains look of the podcast. They don't perform as well as regular like how-tos and news videos, but it's interesting.
No, these aren't bad numbers, Jiroc.
Yeah, no, more than any of my videos ever had.
For hour plus long content, some of them have done quite well. But let's see. We did About Us, PC Game of the Year, Build for Balder, and we launched new server launch. That must have been.
Oh, yeah, that was season 1.
Season 1, huh? Yep.
Yeah.
And then our second episode was right around the Build for Balder competition, and so of course we talked a lot about the Asgard and the Bifrost Bridge, which you see pop up in the background here of my desktop all the time because I have 3 or 4 images of it on, like rotating through always.
Yep, that's what I spent last Christmas holiday building or decorating. That damn bridge, that rainbow bridge, where we had to place one by one the items.
Yeah.
But it looks great.
Yeah, it was worth it.
It was pretty amazing build, but it's like 10 frames per second in the area. It's very, very CPU intense or GPU intense.
Yep, especially when I spawned those like 50 glowing mushrooms in one spot by mistake.
Yeah,
that did freeze the game for Vaste and I for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then we did an episode where we talked about the vegan challenge with Nick Rawcliffe.
Oh yeah, we had Nick Rawcliffe on.
That was only our 3rd episode. We already had a special guest on. Yeah. Hey, Nick, if you're listening.
Yeah, I would love to have Nick back. I know he's done a bunch of other challenges since. So he's speedrunning Mistlands.
Yeah.
He's trying to to beat the world record on Mistlands speedrun.
Yeah, he is definitely. Yeah, we've had him on twice so far. And yeah, he's always a fun guest. And then let's see, our number 4, which... Look, all of a sudden, number 4 gets a whole bunch of hits compared to the last few because I put a picture of the stone portal.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The thumbnail is so important. You put something interesting in the thumbnail and people are more likely to click on it. And that's where we talked about a lot of the secret items that are in the game that you can only spawn in with admin commands.
I loved that episode.
You remember that one?
Wasn't it actually one with the dev? Wasn't it the one that we did with Grimcore?
Was it Grimcore, or was
no, it was after. We did an interview with Grimcore.
Yeah.
Where
In
we had him
April.
on the server, and he mentioned a lot of these items, and so we referred to them in the podcast, I think.
I think these are
We-
out of order, Gwen.
We did
Oh.
we did that interview with Smithy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Smithy. Yeah. Sorry, it wasn't Grimcore. It was Smithy.
Yeah.
Man, I wasn't even in the podcast yet, and I remember better than Gwen does.
Hey, I've done like almost all of the 52 episodes.
know.
so
It all
don't get
blurs
a bit,
into one.
Yeah.
Shame.
Well, I think this was shortly after we released our season 1 map also. And we
Yeah.
talked, we had players, one of them who mentioned that he played for 17 hours straight. I was like, I'm not sure I
Yeah.
recommend it, but they were super into our first seasonal server.
Mhm.
And then we had on our 5th episode, we had our first interview with Patrick Jarlstem, the composer.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
this one was so
Such a great
good.
episode.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if you haven't heard that episode, at the very end of that episode, he gives us a world premiere to one of his original songs that he made for a project that he's working on for himself. And it's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
right at the end of that podcast. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend checking it out. And we just interviewed him a few weeks ago again, and hopefully
We're
we can
going to
get
do
him.
a part 2.
Yeah, hopefully we can do a part 2
Yes.
with him.
Mm-hmm.
See, we got number 6. We talked about new items. We launched a no map server, and we talked about a lot of things, but our favorite armors in the game. Number 7, Frost Caves, new monsters, armors, and weapons.
Oh.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that was fun to cover because, like Gwen said, the Frost Caves really were. It's kind of a pivotal update for Valheim because not only was it just added a bunch of new content, it showed what dungeons and caves could be with a little more of an elaborate build system.
Exactly.
And if they have time, I'd love that for them to go back and redo the ones in the swamp and the Black Forest.
And compared to the other types of dungeons as well, it's the first time that they actually had new mobs that only appear in those places, as well, like the cultist, as well as a lot more world building and lore. Like you actually have not lore, but hints of lore on the walls and such. As well as you understand that there's like magic involved and that the cultists and that is all part of like the same kind of cult, I guess.
Cult of the Wolf update, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think for me it was one of the really big impactful content updates we got.
Yeah,
probably more than Hearth and Home.
Or even the story of the dead fisherman in the Frost Lake, right? Yeah, amazing.
Such great details. Yeah.
And then on the 8th podcast, we had Luma on for an interview.
Yes.
And he told us about some of the folklore around the Abomination.
Yeah.
Which was
Yes,
fun.
that came out at the same time as the Frost Cave update.
No, it didn't.
My favorite.
No, the Abominations came out last Thanksgiving. So last November.
Okay.
November 2022. I mean,
Yep.
2022.
No, 2021.
2021. Yeah. So that's why we didn't cover it in our recap of last year because it came out in 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's where, just getting to speak to one of the developers was fun. Even though he was like one of the newer members of the team, but really, really, really fun interview. And then looks like right after that, we interviewed or did our first interview with Jonathan, which was awesome. And then we went in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. International Women's Day.
Yeah.
The character stream.
Oh, that was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time.
Stream was a different one, but then we covered it, I guess, in this episode.
Yeah. That was the first time I ever streamed.
Oh, really? Was it for that
really?
event? Wow.
It was for that event, and then about 2 months later, I took up streaming as a thing.
Very nice.
Awesome.
By the way, if you don't know, Morning Darkness with 2 5s instead of S's on over there on Twitch. Should check out her channel, and Gwen the Shield Maiden on YouTube. She's got a new stream with her sister. It's a lot of fun. Learn how to say Iron the correct way.
Yes. Or
And
genuinely.
Genuine.
Can I mention one thing real quickly?
Yeah.
We hit 900 followers before the end of the year.
Whoa, nice.
Wow. Congrats.
And I'm 35 people away from 1,000 where I'm going to do a chaos stream.
No.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
4
what?
figures. That's a big milestone.
A chaos stream? What's that?
I said briefly, I'm not going into it now. If there's time later,
Okay,
I can talk about it later.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's see. Then on 11, we talked about the rune stones and the dreams, because we interviewed the writer, Lee Williams.
Williams.
Oh,
Yeah,
I loved
that was
that
great.
one. See, for a lot of these, I wasn't part of it yet, but
Mhm.
like I remember listening to all of these. I mean, I listen to these almost on loop, Jiroc. Like I'll just
No.
play it in the background, and that's why my kid, whenever he hears your voice, he gets excited.
Aw. That's awesome. Hi, Griffin. Let's see. So that was Lee Williams interview, and then we 12 real Viking retreat, Frost Cave events, favorite creatures, and more.
Oh, you know what that was?
Yeah.
It was I went and slept in a Viking longhouse for the weekend, learned to cook like a Viking, and learned to dye using natural dyes. And I think I must have just talked about it on the podcast.
I think
It's so
that's
funny.
about when I joined, because I was there for this one.
Okay. So that was pretty early on then. You joined in around there.
I guess. Maybe I'm just putting myself in there because I love Gwen so much now.
Aw.
But yeah, if that is one of the future topics that people want to hear about, I could ask the person who was our tutor if he would come on as a special guest that is not Valheim, but very Viking
That
related,
would be
he
super
released.
cool.
So he actually now has a YouTube channel as well, the Saxon Forager, where he does some like short video tutorials of some of the recipes, and he's got 2 cookbooks. Eat Like a Viking Volume 1 and 2, and he even released one for the Lord of the Rings fans out there. Eat Like a Halfling, for basically Hobbit-inspired recipes. So
I need that one.
Amazing.
It's really, really good stuff. I mean, if let us know in the comments if it's a topic, like if you want us to talk about Viking food with an actual Viking food expert who can tell you some of the recipes. It could be a fun episode.
Yeah.
Oh, not the Hobbit food.
Yeah, maybe I'll put a comment down and pin it to the comments, and the more thumbs up that comment gets, it'll say something like, do you want to hear someone talk about real Vikings? Thumb up, and we'll see if there's enough interest. Let's see. 13 builders armor set. Oh yeah, we were talking about an armor set just for builders. The cape, the Featherfall cape is kind of a builder's cape, right? Now you could build up high. Yes. You could build 100%. These giant towers and tree houses like Morning Darkness and not fall to your death.
100 times already.
Yeah. I went on the next podcast. Some of the things we talked about were resin colored fires, different colored resin to change your fire, different colors. Pet cats, which we still don't have a cat.
Part of it by this point.
Okay, yeah. We still don't have a cat in the game, do we?
Yeah.
No kind of cat. Interesting.
We need a cat.
100%.
I still go. I still stick to my guns. Necks are the cats of the game, and we should be able to tame them.
Cats do what they want, though.
I mean,
yeah, next as well.
Ashlands are quite warm, you know.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Kitties like warmth.
They do, especially in the winter now. My cats always want to sit on you in the winter. In the summer, they don't want anything to do with you. But in the winter, it's like you think they want your attention. Nope, they just want a warm lap. Or I catch them because our vents for our central heating and air are on the floor. And they blow up out of the floor. So you see the cat just sitting right on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, fire cats, that would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like
be
the
kind of
like
hard to pet,
Sturtlings,
though.
but cat. Yeah, no, I don't want to burn you.
Then a subject that has come up quite a bit are throwing axes.
Yeah,
We've talked about this, but this was a special bonus episode because the Jonathan Smars interview was so long. I split it into 2 episodes. So this was just a bonus episode in between 14 and 15, the second part of Jonathan's interview. Some 15, we talked about hidden patch notes. So when I work with the modders, they will oftentimes look through the code and stuff, and they'll tell me other things that were added to the game that weren't mentioned in the patch notes. And as we know from Jonathan, they actually want to try to include more of those things in the patch notes, but just sometimes they just don't, forget or they don't make it. So,
right.
Then we interviewed. Oh, look at this! 16,000 views. I wonder which interview this was.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this was probably my favorite.
Was it the?
I wasn't there.
No, you weren't. I know.
Yeah, it was the interview, the birthday interview with Grimcore.
Grimcore. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I had to take a family member to the hospital that day and spend the day there, so I wasn't able to get to be involved in the interview. But y'all did a great job. You did a great job.
Held it up. Focus.
Yep. I was listening to it the whole time, and I thought, this is great. I don't even have to be there.
That one was so fun because we got to be in the game with our characters, and that cave was so beautifully decorated, and just
Oh yeah, gosh, they did an amazing job, all of them.
Yeah.
Like that sign saying Robin. Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If anybody out there, if you get a chance to play on our servers, there's so many places to visit on the server, all the amazing builds, probably hundreds and hundreds of builds by now. And this cave that that mostly Canaris put together with the help of a few people was beautifully decorated, a frost cave, because we used a mod to allow you to build inside of there. It was beautiful. We discussed two-handed swords. Look at this, way back in episode 17, before we knew anything about the Mistlands.
Right.
Adding them. I even, for the thumbnail, it's kind of hard to see, and this is a little small, but the thumbnail, I made a picture. I think it was the character swung maybe the two-handed, the big crystal axe, and I then in Photoshop swapped it out for a sword, a two-handed sword.
Well, so Jiroc, I have to point out one thing. I'm looking at your, 16,000 view from when we interviewed Robin, and look at that title just real quick. Magic.
Yes.
Yep.
We
Developer
have
interview.
it now.
Magic.
We have it now.
Yep. And now we have the magic that was just hinted at slightly in that interview.
Guys, I just realized something.
What's that?
Are we the oracles of Valheim?
No.
Predict the future of Valheim?
No, we just pay attention enough that we pick up on the cues.
No, we're just really likable and they listen to us.
I think we're just throwing 100 darts at the dartboard and hoping that one or two of them hit.
Yeah.
Right? We're throwing out so much stuff. Eventually, a couple of those have to line up.
Shh, don't say it like that.
Let's see. Oh, then on 18, we had Nick Rawcliffe back, and he did his swamp only challenge where his whole world was a swamp, and he talked about that. That was fun. That seems a little crazy because you're limited, right? Because you don't have access to a bunch of different resources to make things. You only have what's in the swamps because that's the only biome that he had. Let's see. Changing of the seasons. I think Bambi. Didn't you suggest that?
I think this was my first podcast. Yeah.
I feel like around that time is when we started having guests from the community.
Yeah, I think so.
And Bambi was one of the first.
I think that was my first admin podcast.
Yep. And so changing seasons in the game is obviously a complicated procedure for them to design, because then they have to do the different look of the environment, and all that artwork has to be done too. And,
we still want it though.
Oh yeah, it would be totally fun. One of those hundreds of darts we throw, maybe it'll land. See, in 20 item stand magic. This was right around the time we just discovered that the mod by Jiroc called Item Stand All Items. We use that mod so we can put any object on an item stand, because you can't put everything on item stands. But what we didn't know is that you could also do a thing called transformations. You can have them move position away from the item stand, or they can change in size. And so as you can see, you might not be able to see, it's kind of small, but on the thumbnail there is a bunch of Gwen's rewards for the feather cape bet. But they're scaled to different sizes, the ice cream.
Yeah, I never forget that moment. You were in the shop we have and the server. Like, bam, I have a present for you. And then I saw you do the transformation. I knew it was possible. I just didn't know how to do it. Then I saw you do it, and I was like, okay, now I need to know how to do that.
Yeah. The players have done some amazing decorative builds, transforming things and making them giant and small and all kinds of cool things. So a fun mod to play with, and it doesn't have to be installed on the server for you to use it. Let's see. Next podcast, we discussed recovering arrows. Someone was, I don't remember who was really, was it Gorth?
Gorth, maybe? Yeah,
Gorth.
Yeah, recovering arrows would be fun. Like, you have a percentage chance to, that would be fun. Shield attacks, like a shield bash, would be fun.
Shield bashing.
It says here in the title, piggy armor. So I'm guessing that's boar armor, like making armor out of the boar hide.
Who was talking? Yes. I think he was talking about the mods where you can ride boars, like you can have saddles for pretty much every tameable animal in Valheim.
Oh, right.
And then we just went on a tangent saying, oh, how cute would it be if they also had their own, like Loxers had their own armor, and then like why not the piggies too? And
yeah. We went overboard again.
Well, yeah, those bat raids, they wipe out your farms, but you could put some armor on your boars. Maybe. That would be great.
Yes, that's probably what we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, and then episode 22, I was do a lot of admin stuff behind the scenes. I started to create creative build palettes and take, basically setting up a giant platform where all of the creative things that admins can spawn in the game would all be on this one palette as a blueprint. You could just drop in the game and then take samples of to build from without having to go through the code to try to find everything. And then female beards. Gwen, that's, I guess, when we started discussing female beards.
Still don't understand why.
I think I was the one who initially was like, this should be a thing. I don't know why it's not.
Why?
Let's see, episode 23. Oh, mountain lakes. Yeah, having water elsewhere in the world would be really fun.
Yeah.
Can do some custom you could do like a custom frozen lake, because we have that ice floor piece that's in the frost caves. So you could do a couple of custom frozen lakes around the mountains if you wanted to take the time to do that, or like for a special event or POI or something.
A nice skating
I
ring.
think that was the podcast I asked for, like a water tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it even later on? Yeah, it was even later on.
No, I think that was it.
Yeah, because we were talking about the mechanic of tar and how it flows and how it would be cool to have that for water as well. So we can make fountains and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Or, have waterfalls.
Yeah. And then on episode 24, we introduced an achievement system, which was really popular with a very small portion of people because it was a lot of manual labor on the player's part. But I think it's still a fun idea if we could figure out a way to get a mod or something to track that for the player. Because they would do something in game and then they, have to go on to our Discord and log it all in to track it. So it was a lot of work that some people did. But and then we launched season 2 right around here.
Yep.
So that was fun. Next episode 25, which is halfway through our year pretty much. Copy and paste your own builds. And,
is that when we interviewed Jules?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Probably is.
Yeah, probably.
Let's find out if I mention it in the description here. Oh, yep. We talked to Jules. Hey, Jules. Here's your first interview. Back here.
On the Podheim.
Yeah. Jules came on Plan Build to show us how. And this is an amazing tool. Some games actually include a version of this in the game itself. And yeah, it would be great to have an admin tool like this built into the game. Yeah. Saving some of the builds are so amazing. You want to see them saved so that they can be repasted elsewhere. Tick backpack. This is, we started getting our, early looks at the Mistlands and Gwen was like, absolutely. I want a tick embedded into my back so I can store my blood there. And the two-handed sword, a new fish. Orcas and turtles and krakens. Oh my. So that was our season 2 server we were talking about more.
Yeah.
Because we had mods that added those.
Yep.
28. Back to basics. This is what, a lot of people on our servers would talk about wanting to be able to restart fresh again from the very beginning, which is one of the reasons why we have this seasonal servers that reset every, I think we're going to do 4 months. We'll see at the end of this 4 months how it goes. But so the players who aren't into, who do like to restart from the beginning after they go through all the content, and not just live on the museum, which is the main playground server. Shields on the ship. Of course, in their alpha versions of the game, they have artwork where they show shields on the ship.
Right.
And now we have mods on our modded server that have shields on a ship. But we still don't have shields on a ship yet. Hopefully with the ocean update, we'll get something like that.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. New gear confirmed for, I'm guessing, the Mistlands. We got a picture of it, but we didn't know that it would be.
New gear?
Yeah.
We did get a new gear. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Gwen hasn't seen all the Mistlands content yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what it looks like, but yeah, we got a new gear.
Or its special effect. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh, I think I know which one.
Oh, yeah?
I've seen players running around with magic infused weapons, so I'm guessing that was one of them.
Yeah. Looks like we discussed giant necks in episode 31.
Neckzilla.
Neckzilla, yeah. Mini boss raids. Oh, and I think this was the first episode where we did Valheim trivia.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think that was my favorite thing of all the segments that we've done.
Yes.
Oh, really?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
I need it back.
On a regular occasion, I keep thinking up trivia questions myself and thinking, I should send these to Jiroc. Crap, if I send these to Jiroc, then I can't participate.
You could do the question. You could be the host for the questions.
You could be the
some weeks, so I could try to play and get them all wrong.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Let me go write some ideas down because I think I've come up with like 30 different questions at this point.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah,
I could do a few episodes.
Yeah, if any of you listeners, if you really enjoyed that trivia segment and would like to see it come back to the show, once in a while, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
It took, when I did it, it takes extra time. I got to do a lot of stuff to prepare for the podcast already. And actually now that,
let me take over.
Yeah, I'd love to play.
Yes.
I'd love to play it.
Then we maybe stand a chance to win.
I didn't win all the time.
And we need to recover the studios from that build.
Yes.
So we can do it in game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I probably have a copy of the world before the Mistlands update.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about going and blueprinting it all and putting it somewhere else in the world. So thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, no problem.
I think one of the other admins, maybe Basse, was actually planning to do that.
Yeah. He's planning to do that as well.
In episode 32, it looks like we talk about dungeon traps, where we would just love to see traps in dungeons. And I don't think we quite have that yet in Mistlands dungeons, but we do have a lot of like secret rooms and compartments and and
we
things.
We do have bear traps now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We have our own traps that we can set, but like not like you're exploring something and then you could set off a trap that gets you, unless somebody has built a ballista and a bear trap inside a dungeon. Then they'll both get you. Episode 33, we talked about Mistlands armor and the cooking upgrade. 34. Oh, there was a lot of talk of Mistlands waterfalls. Just because of all of the mist that was in the area and how that might have been cool if we finally get like flowing water or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And somebody wanted screaming goats.
Oh my gosh, that had to have been Boss Day.
Yeah. Oh my god, yes, it was definitely him.
And I still like, somebody mentioned Locke's armor. I would love to see like a big furry, Locke's armor.
Oh yeah,
set.
for the light armor version for the Mistlands. Not Mistlands, planes.
For the planes,
are you sure we didn't mean like armor to put on the logs?
No,
there was.
Yeah, you're confusing the two different ones. So the first one was armor to put on the creatures. This one we were talking about using like Locke's pelts to create the light armor for the planes.
Yeah. I think so. Mistlands eggs and body recovery. Oh, we must have had the body recovery squad interview with Jim Raynor, right? Or Rim Janor.
Rim Janor.
Yes.
We had Rim Janor here, and I wanted eggs really bad.
And we got them.
Well,
I know.
We got eggs. And chickens.
Loved it.
Yes.
There's I don't know if anybody is familiar with the Zac Brown band. It's a country band. He has a song called "Sick 'em on a Chicken," and it's he sicks his dog on a chicken in the song, so that you could fry up some chicken for dinner. And he's like, and the song is so funny and so fun, and I play it all the time. And I just love to see the reaction on people's faces when they hear it for the first time. I'm like, I got a great country song to show you. Just sick 'em on a chicken. It's so funny. You gotta listen to it if you have never heard it.
It sounds awful.
It's awesome.
I'm with you, Bambi. I'm with you.
Some Mistlands news. Oh, look at this. September.
Oh, yeah, that's when we got the update on the hair.
But look at the thumbnail. It's a picture of all of us.
Us. Yeah, that was the first time you did a thumbnail of us. And it didn't do
Well,
too
the first time we
badly.
were on camera. The first time we were on camera
Yeah.
for the podcast.
Not
Yeah.
even Digivaste. Was
Yep,
the real
it's
one.
the real boy Vaste.
Yeah.
I miss having Vaste on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been really busy. And the holidays, hopefully, as the holidays pass on and his school schedule slows down. I don't know if it will, though. Let's see.
So. Hope Gorth has some more time as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the holidays were a little rough for a lot of people. It's so busy. December's always super busy month.
Yeah.
So 37, I did an interview with Kaizen. Let's see. I think this is because I was out of town. Oh yeah, that's September 23rd. That's right around the anniversary with my Shield Maiden. So I was out of town and did just an interview with him and I right before I left. And that was a fun interview.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to do another interview with him because he, like
nice.
myself, announced that he is looking to do some other types of content to branch out. So we may brainstorm some ideas if we get a chance to talk. Let's see. Oh, patch break servers.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
It was
That
not
was
a
the
good time
crossplay.
for the admin team.
No. And Jiroc was out of town and Kondo got no sleep that week.
Yeah.
I never
He was the freaking hero of the hour day.
I never forget that Vaste said, yeah, go ahead on vacation. It's not like Mistlands gonna drop this week. The day after.
Yeah. Well, I left town and then boom.
Yep.
But let's see. We got a hint of the new battle axe and some of the new build pieces, so we could maybe build pyramids. But I think that those build pieces on the top of that little tower, that dwarven tower, we cannot build those yet, right?
No, but there is somebody in the community that actually built a pyramid already.
Yeah. You can
they
totally
have?
build
Okay.
a pyramid now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we saw the lanterns and new mushrooms.
And we can have lanterns now on the item stand because of Jiroc.
Yes.
Oh,
Jiroc lets items stand all items.
He fixed
mod.
it.
Yeah, I don't get why you can't have them as part of the game because the dwarves, the vergers, they do have lanterns just, placed on tables and chairs and things. So it's not really fair that we can't.
Totally agree with you,
game.
Gwen.
I think
you still have to craft them.
I think it's a bug. I think it's just something they overlooked. I think hopefully they plan to add it to a lantern to put on an item stand.
Yeah.
Only seems to make sense.
I totally agree with Gwen.
Let's see. Oh, then walking on Yggdrasil, because we saw the roots of the tree on the ground in a preview.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a big, big spoiler drop.
Yeah. And the way that mechanic works, I don't know if Gwen knows, but there's actually a mechanic to them and something you have to do to them. It's I won't spoil it in case Gwen doesn't know.
I have been spoiled by everyone else talking about it and playing it, so it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, they have energy and you have to siphon the energy out with a thing you build. Yes. But and then let's see, new modded server ready for a quest. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It has Quest Giver, it's our modded server. And it's become the largest labor intensive thing that we've ever done.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, modded servers. Oh no, an early access game.
Well, so
new patches and new updates.
I would always complain, between like making content and running Discord and doing, things on the servers that I don't have time to do everything. Like I just can't find enough hours in the day, and I need like a staff of a team of people to help, which we have a lot of volunteers who help with a lot of things. But when I talked about a new server, I just remember this one voice in the back of my head that said, I don't know, Jiroc. Are you sure you have time for that?
That voice sounded a little bit British. Maybe.
Yes, that was Gwen. Always try because I like throw out ideas all the time, and Gwen's like, "That sounds cool. Are you gonna have time for that?"
Well,
And,
to be honest, we got a new admin now, Glaive.
Yeah.
Oh my freaking gosh. He just dived into that and did an amazing job.
Yeah. He's doing a lot to help troubleshoot the issues and getting everything running. And he actually figured out one thing that will save a lot of time in the future. And it's basically that we thought that certain mods were causing about 5% of the people in our community can't connect to the server or can't connect to it regularly. There was some issue, and after troubleshooting all the mods, we realized it's not a problem with the mods. It's actually a problem with their computer, the software they have set up, their network, and their internet service provider. And even in one case, so I think with our member Brudek, they replaced the what's it called, the network card or whatever in the computer because it was having problems. So it's on the user side that they're having issues with loading all these mods. So now that we know that, we can troubleshoot differently and save some time in the future. So that's good.
Yeah.
42, a new patch dropped. We got our Jacko turnips back.
Days before Halloween.
Yeah, just a few days before. I don't know if that was just an oversight or what, but that seemed very weird that we only got them a few days before Halloween. And then we got the holiday, the Yule, all the Yule decorations and the new ones several weeks before. So maybe a problem with scheduling there. I don't know. We talk about wanting to tame necks, eggs, and babies. Yes. that would be fun. Although, lizards really don't make good pets in real life either. So
do they not? They're pretty chill.
Yeah, but they don't make good pets. And let's see, Mistlands news. Oh, Dwarven builds, because we started seeing more. And we interviewed Versaw, and Bambi was had hearts coming. When you click on the boar and it says "Boar loves you," that was like Bambi the whole time in her care.
Bambi loves you.
Bambi loves you. Bambi loves you.
He's all my inspiration. Oh yeah, we went over that.
I should make Versaw a special shirt.
Yes, Bambi loves you.
Just that design. The deer design. Just change the text.
Yeah. I will buy it for him.
It just says Bambi loves you. And then just send that to him. Limited edition Bambi loves you shirt.
Well, yeah, maybe other people want it as well, but I will buy it for Versaw.
And maybe your twins, right?
No, that's give them the business because, that's a whole different section. My twins. Yeah. Moving on.
Let's see here. Dwarven build, everything we know about the Mistlands so far. That episode, we went through a lot of the updates up until that point because then it came out on the public test branch and we talked about that. Yep. And then this turned into a fun conversation, which I don't know if you guys ever get a chance, but go and read the comments on this podcast because a lot of people jump in about.
A lot of people have opinions.
Yeah.
A lot of nerds came out of the woodwork and I love it.
Yeah. Because the thumbnail said motor is not a dragon. And we compare all the different types of, drake, dragon, wyvern, worm, all that stuff.
I didn't see the comments. So I have to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of fun. Let's see. 48 developer tells all. And we had.
Oh, yeah. We had
Jonathan on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I got up so early for that. You were already up, right?
Yes.
I
think I got 3 hours sleep that night.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I slept in my clothes ready to get up and be.
So that's a fun. And even though it was a long episode, I considered splitting it into 2 episodes, but because it was all about the Mistlands, I decided Mistlands is coming out. Let's just put it all out there.
Yeah, and it looks like it's gotten some views too.
Yeah, it's got a few. I'm surprised. I should probably break this episode, and I did. I created the chapters for this, and I was thinking about taking those chapters and making them their own videos because each section is so interesting.
Yeah.
And
that's what you did with the Grimcore and some of the interviews we did like really early on, before Podheim.
Yeah. When we had Grimcore and some of the other developers on for our holiday build in 2021, I split that up into multiple segments, and each one got about 10 times more views than the podcast itself did.
Not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. Jelly Jam Boy. We had Jelly Jam Boy on.
Yes. Say it 5 more times.
Jelly Jam Boy, Jelly Jam Boy, Jelly Jam Boy, Jelly Jam Boy, Jelly Jam Boy.
We know you like
summoned.
That was a fun episode.
Jiroc really likes to say Jelly Jam Boy.
Yeah. Let's see. And then we interview Patrick Jarlstam again, the composer for part 1 and hopefully part 2. And then, of course, me by myself in Nashville up on a hotel.
A year in podcasting.
Yep. There you go. So
amazing.
I have like I said before, I have the one new segment where I want to do tips and tricks instead of what would we want to change, because Gwen is repeating what she wants to change or stealing other people's what they want to change and making it her own. I think tips and tricks.
We found out it works, so let's not change that.
Well, every now and then, when we have a good one, we'll just blurt it out, no context, at the beginning of the episode before we get into the podcast, just to make sure that they hear it.
Maybe we should start sending emails then.
I'm not sure if they'll appreciate.
Yeah. So if any of you here on the podcast, my co-hosts, or the listeners, if you have ideas for segments or for us to do on a regular basis, or even if it's something we could do, once or a few times, let us know in the comments, and or stop by our Discord and chat with us. And of course, you wonderful admins here, we can always discuss that in our Discord. But yeah, looking to add a few new things to the podcast, maybe bringing back trivia when there's time for trivia to be prepared. That would be fun, especially if Morning wants to prepare, so I can compete and show my lack of knowledge. I mean, if it's trivia about admin stuff and mods and admin commands, I'd probably win. But if it's running around playing the game, I have to dig deep and try to remember. So
you'll just have to come play more, Jiroc.
Yeah.
New Year's resolution 2023. Actually play the game.
Yeah. So before we close out, I just wanted to say hi to our former co-hosts who don't have time to, get on here with us, or, they're busy with life and doing other things. I've said it before, but Tuesday is my favorite day of the week because I get to chat with you guys. Like it's so much fun. And it's one of the reasons why I love bringing on just our community members. We don't have a community member on today, but I do want to try to make it a regular thing where we have, a random community member on. It's because, more opportunity to get to chat with each other and get to know each other more. That's one of the things that make being a part of a community fun. And so past co-hosts, of course, Thorin, Metaroon on YouTube, but Thorin was one of our original members, and he was one of the most enthusiastic about, doing a podcast. He had he worked during the day here in the US when we record, and he would, try to configure his days so that he could do the podcast each week. And it was a lot of fun. I hope that if he is interested in coming back to playing Valheim, or maybe doing more YouTube content for Valheim, that he'll consider doing the podcast. Great builder too, built a lot of cool things on the server.
Well, yeah, like this hall that we can see in the background.
Yeah, this great hall right here in the background is his build, and where we basically do a lot of big events, big gatherings on the server. And Tulkas, of course. Tulkas is thinking about changing his name, so everybody will have to learn his new name if he does decide to go with it.
No.
I won't spoil it.
Is it another Lord of the Rings reference?
It's gonna be Frodo, I think. My vote, Frodo.
Tulkas is Frodo, aka Tulkas. So he asked me if he could change his name, and I told him, how to do it for our administrative purposes in our records. But I thought it would be a little sad to have to refer to him by a different name, because to me, he's Tulkas.
Yeah, he's Tulkas.
I think even if he changes his name, everybody's still going to call him Tulkas.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Urkinus, who is around here and there, and one of our early members, early admins, and
his new baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's busy with life and real life stuff, but he's been on the server a little bit lately. So if he ever wants to do the podcast, I'd love to have him back on. If you're listening, Urkinus, schedule us in for one of those Tuesdays. And then who can forget Rudy? Rudistic the Guardian. One of the friendliest players. Rudy. Yeah. One of the friendliest
He did my
players.
intro interview.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was when he had to step back that you invited me to come and join as an admin and be on the podcast. That
was a huge hole in the admin and just a personality in the community.
Oh yeah.
And you obviously were all when I asked the other admins, we all were well, Morning Darkness, of course, right? And yeah, you did a great job with that too. And another person who wasn't, I don't think, was on the podcast, but one of our admins who left for a good long while, but has just recently come back to the server as a player, is Liddy. So hi, Liddy, if you're listening, welcome back.
Yes, have you back.
Yeah, she's
Morning Darkness reminded me of her because she actually did my first interview. I was like, oh yeah, but Liddy is back as well. Liddy, yay!
Yeah. So that's that. That's our wrap up of 2022, and hoping for lots of fun stuff here in 2023.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Wait. Before we
close, yeah.
Predictions on Ashlands.
Cats, fiery cats.
Yeah. No. When do you think it'll drop?
I
think it's
I'm
going to
not
probably
even thinking about it.
I think it's going to probably drop this summer.
That's my guess. So pick a
June,
month.
July.
Yeah?
They said that they want to get them out faster. Yeah, I'm going to say July at the latest. That's my prediction.
Yeah. All right, then I will say June.
Okay.
I was going to say July, but no, I have to be different. So I'm going to be hopeful and say June.
I was going to say my birthday month. It's going to be August.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
My birthday is July, so one of us will win. But I think if it is going to come out in the summer, they'll want to release it early June, because they all take 2 months or a month off in between June and July, don't they?
Yeah.
Or July and August. So they'll probably want to release it before then.
Or after their vacation.
Yeah.
Maybe after. Yeah,
well, that'll make Jiroc win.
So is Ashlands coming next?
Yeah,
for sure.
we've already confirmed.
Not,
Why, Gwen? Are you not listening to the podcasts? Come now. When we
no,
interviewed
it's got
Jonathan.
spoilers in.
Oh, right.
I'm
When we
with
interviewed
Gwen.
Jonathan, he said that I was like, "What's the next biome?" And he said Ashlands.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I didn't hear that as well. I'm with Gwen. I'm avoiding spoilers, but okay. So hoping for the ocean.
No. Yeah, ocean would be a nice.
The ocean's going to be
nice
last.
one.
I think it's going to go Ashlands, Deep North.
Yeah,
Oceans.
but that's
Because they're not really talking about oceans as like even on the map.
Sorry, we lost audio here for just a few seconds, and it'll be coming back here right about now.
Yeah, fish and dolphins and things.
Yes,
But no boss, please.
No boss. No cracker.
You guys are chickens.
We want fishes. We want more fishes, please.
More fish and friendly little kitty cats.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
No, they're
Jiroc.
going to have flying monsters in the oceans. And
Oh.
Can somebody mute Morning Darkness right now?
Give them bad ideas.
No.
that was part of the Robin interview. He said, he's like, I'm excited to add flying creatures as
Yep,
monsters
that's
into
what he
the ocean.
said.
That was Gwen, you asked him the question.
Oh, wait, I did?
Yeah.
Did he say that? No, but he did it already with
No.
Mistlands. There are
No.
flying things. That's enough flying
No.
things now.
No. No.
Denial. She's in denial.
I know she is.
Oh no.
Yeah. Could we go further before anybody mentions spiders?
They've already said they're not adding spiders.
Yeah, no
No.
spiders.
Yeah, the flying things in the Mistlands are just the test run. It's the practice before the real horror comes to the oceans.
I mean, flying piranhas, maybe like flying fish. That just like
No. They're gonna come in with some real cool things because we've got a sea serpent. We're gonna have some like real monsters out in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
I want
As
to.
long as they're not spider-like,
to-
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see sharks or orcas or dolphins or things like that. I think it's going to be something really original and unique. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Thanks
Thank you,
for having
Jiroc.
us, and happy 2023. Yay.
Welcome to
Yay.
2023.
Podcasting.
Thanks for having us, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Hey.
That's it for now. Have fun out there.
Oh my god, do I get to take this off? It is
No.
digging into my head.
No.
Oh,
Jiroc didn't say that the recording was done. Keep it on.
Forehead.